Alright guys, looking at the homework, this is going to be a little fast, so if you need to pause, please do so. If you need to go back and look at a problem, please feel free to do that, okay? So each of these are triangles. Please remember the area of a triangle is A equals BH divided by 2. And on every single problem, we need the formula, the numbers used, and the answer. Make sure you include your measurement with units or with your measurement, okay? So, looking at number 1, first thing I'm going to write is a triangle. I'm going to write my formula. A equals BH divided by 2. All right, my base is going to have to be this line because the other two are slanted, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My height, counting that from the base all the way to the very end of the triangle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, if you need to go back and watch that counting, please do so. So now my calculator, I can type in 6 times 8, which should give me 48 divided by 2, which gives me 24. Make sure we include our measurement, which in this case is just going to be units squared. Since there is no measurement, we write the word units. Right? Next one, area equals base times height divided by 2 because it's a triangle. My base is going to have to be that straight line. It can't be the slanted lines. Counting that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my base is 5. My height is where that right angle is, which is another clue. Remember, my base and height always have to make a right angle. So counting my height, 1, 2, 3. 5 times 3 gives me 15. When I divide that by 2, I do get a fraction. I get 7.5. For my regular classes, I will take this. This is okay. This is acceptable. But for my advanced classes, they do need to change that into 7.5 units squared. Okay. On the next one, it's a triangle. So again, I'm going to write A equals BH divided by 2. Just a reminder, going back to this one, if the problem does not have decimals, I don't want to see a decimal in your answer. My advanced students, that's why we're changing it to 7.5. My regular students, I'll take this for now. But remember, eventually your math teachers are going to require you to do fractions when there aren't decimals involved in the problem. All right, so let's look at this next one. Base times height divided by 2. So my base here is going to be 24.8. Since this has a decimal in it, we can use it in our answer. And then my height going from the bottom of the triangle to the top of the triangle is 16. And then we have divided by 2. So I'm going to type in 24.8 times 16 divided by 2 gives me 198.4 centimeters squared. Number 4, it's a triangle. A equals base times height divided by 2. So my base is going to be 41.5 times the height, which is 36, divided by 2. So we're going to type in 41.5. Remember, we talked about in class how to use the fraction button, times 36 divided by 2 is going to give me 747 feet squared. It's a triangle. A equals base times height divided by 2. All right, we do have to be careful here. Remember, base and height have to meet at a right angle. There's my right angle, which means these two are my base and my height, and that's 8.25. It's just there to try to trick me. So we're going to use just the 2 and the 8. I'm going to say 2 is my base and 8 is my height. Those could have been the other way around. 2 times 8 is 16 divided by 2 gives me 8 again. Feet squared. Okay. Number 6, area equals base times height divided by 2. All right, again, they have to meet at a right angle, so that 25 is there to trick me. I'm going to let 7.3 be my base and 24.6 be my height divided by 2. I'm going to use my calculator for this one. 24.6, type that in. Make sure you divide by 2. I got 89.79 meters squared. Since this problem had decimals, I can leave those decimals in my answer. Sorry, I didn't realize I was off the screen. Okay. 7, 8, and 9 were a little bit challenging when we're looking for that missing dimension. This is where we're going to be using our algebra. So I'm going to start again. These are triangles still. I'm going to start by writing my formula. So A equals base times height divided by 2. And this is where we want to draw that line so we can do the opposite. My area, it says here, you know what, I'm going to actually move this down. Okay, so let's see. A equals base times height divided by 2. So I end up with 245 equals my base. If I look up here, there is no base, so I'm just going to leave that with B. My height, H, is 14 times 2. All right, this is what we practiced in class. We need to get rid of that 2 first because it's a funky fraction. We don't want that there. The opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying. So I'm going to do times 2. Opposite of bottom is top. If I do it to one side, do it to the other. So my 2's go away. 245 times 2 is going to give me 490 equals B times 14. Now I can do the opposite here. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. The number with my letter is 14. So 490 divided by 14 gives me, those go away, so I have 35 inches equals my base. All right, the inches are because it's measuring inches. The 2 only goes with area. Since we're talking about our base, we leave it off. Okay. Number 8, same thing. It's a triangle. A equals base times height divided by 2. Draw my line. My area here is 256.5 equals, B stands for base. It tells me my base this time is 27. H stands for height. It does not tell me the height, so I'm just going to leave that as H divided by 2. The first thing we want to do is get rid of that pesky 2. Opposite of dividing by 2 on the bottom is multiplying by 2 on the top. So those go away. Over here I have 2 times 256.5, which gives me 513 equals 27 times H. Again, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. I'm dividing by 27 since that's what's next to my letter. When I divide 513 by 27, I get 19. We're talking about centimeters equals my H, my height. Okay. Number 9 is again a triangle. It tells me the area, so I'm going to be using my geometry. This was supposed to have a 2. It looks like it got cut off somehow. All right, so I have area equals base times height divided by 2. Draw our line. My area here is 21. Equals B, which is base. It just has the letter B, so I'm going to use that. The height is going to be that up and down, which is 6 divided by 2. Okay, we need to get rid of that 2 first. Opposite of dividing on the bottom is multiplying on the top. So those go away. 21 times 2 is 42 equals B times 6. Opposite of multiplying by 6 is to divide by 6. 42 divided by 6 is going to be 7. We're talking about inches equals my base. Okay. Our last 2, so this is where we're looking for the shaded region. Remember, to create a hole, you're subtracting. If I go outside with a shovel and I dig a hole, I'm taking the dirt out, I'm subtracting, and it's creating that empty place. All right, so we're going to do the big shape minus the small shape. My big shape is a rectangle. The formula for that is length times width, minus my small shape, which is a square, a special rectangle, so we can also do length times width there. My big shape, my length, I'm going to say is 9, which means my width will have to be 14. 9 times 14 is going to give me, 9 times 14, let me use my calculator, make sure I do it correctly, 126. All right, for the smaller shape, I'm doing length times width, which is going to be 5 times 5, which gives me minus 25. So when I subtract those, I should get 101. We are still talking about the area, so that's going to be meters squared. Okay, same thing here. We're going to do the big shape minus the small shape. So my big shape is the rectangle, so I'm going to do length times width minus that triangle, which is base times height divided by 2. Alright, my big rectangle, length times width. So I'm going to do 20 is my length, 17.5 is my width. So 20 times 17.5. 20 using my calculator times 17, typing that fraction in carefully. So I get 350 here, minus my triangle. So my base is going to be, looks like that says 8 2/3 times 5 divided by 2. Let's work that out. 8 2/3 times 5. I got that was 43 1/3. Then I'm going to just hit divided by 2. So my final answer here is 21 2/3. Okay, and now I'm just going to type that into my calculator. 350 minus 21 2/3, which gives me 328 1/3. My measurement here is going to be inches squared, since it is area we're discussing. All right, please remember, if you need to go back and look over any of those, you can. Hopefully this video was helpful, and you'll have a wonderful afternoon. We'll look at these tomorrow.